my name's Cameron, aka The Cocktail Cup, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a seasonal favourite. It's mulled cider. It's going to be the most easy to follow along, it's going to be delicious, it's going to warm us, it's going to be beautiful. It's mulled cider, so let's jump right in with the recipe. So first, mulled cider, if you're mulling anything, you're going to need a base of spices. So let's talk about the spices that we're going to be using today. I've got here, now we're only going to be using 3 spices. It's going to work beautifully in this mulled cider. So what we have first, we've got star anise, then we've got our cinnamon, and lastly, we've got our clove. Alright, 3 spices, that's all it is. Really easy to remember. So let's jump right in. The first thing we're going to do, grab ourselves a saucepan. Put your saucepan on a medium heat. It helps if you've got one with a lid, but if you haven't, don't worry, you can still follow along. And then we're just going to add our spices in first to create that base of spice. We're going to toast those spices a little bit before adding the cider, and it's going to work perfectly. Grab yourself 4 star anise. Boom. 4 star anise like this. Go into the pan. Next up, we've got a cinnamon stick. Absolute classic flavour of winter, autumn. Just, it's such a winter warmer. So next up, we've got 4 cloves that we're going to add in. Now if you've not used these before, you've got to be really careful. These little buggers, they're small, they're really tiny, but they impact huge flavour. Now, what we're going to do, we're just going to toast those 2 to 3 minutes. Let it fill your living room, your kitchen, your house with that spices, that beautiful warming winter spices. And that is when you know it's ready. Doing this first before we add the cider, it means that once we add the cider in, because the spices are so hot, it's just going to sizzle up and just quickly flash infuse that cider with all those flavours. That's what we want, that's what we're looking for. That's what's going to make our mulled cider pop. So I've had my spices in here for about 3 minutes now. It's smelling beautiful. It's time to move on. It's time to add that cider. Now, there's a lot of confusion over mulled cider and what cider to pick, and it's understandable. Any unflavoured and dry cider is what you want. Dry is the key word. What that means is it means that it's not sweet. It's the opposite of sweet. It's dry. We're going to be adding sugar in this, and we're going to be reducing it down. So if you pick a cider that's sweet, it's just going to overpower your mulled cider with that sweetener. So for that, we go for a dry cider. Now, to know what you're going for, if you look on the label, it'll have dry there. It might say dry cider, it might say cider dry, whatever. If it doesn't say it, turn it around, look on the back. A lot of them, they have this little kind of blurb, and it might say, like this one does, there's a dry, light, sparkling cider. That's what you want to go for. So go in, open your bottle. We're just going to pour in 500 millilitres of our cider. There it is. Beautiful. There we go. Next up, we're going to add a little bit of citrus. It's going to give it a bit of sweetness. It's going to give it a pop. It's going to make it complex. So what we're going to go for is I've got the Christmas classic. It's clementine. Or clementine? Clementine? It's clementine. You can use oranges. You can use tangerine. Tangerine works great. Satsumas I haven't tried, but I don't see why not. But today, we're going for the clementine. Grab one and you're going to peel the entire skin off. You want to use a vegetable peeler like this, not a knife, and I'll show you why. When you're peeling it with a vegetable peeler, what you get is just all the peel and all this white stuff get left behind. That's what you want. You don't want any of that white stuff. It's bitter. We don't want bitter cider. So just that. Pull them all off. Once you've got your peels, at this point we're just going to add those in, crush them up a little bit. That's going to release all the oils. Smell your hands, just smells citrusy, beautiful. There's some free perfume for you, thank me later. That goes in. Next up, what we're going to add, 100 grams of sugar, and that's just going to help sweeten the mix. It's going to be beautiful, so we'll pour that in. We're going to turn the heat up. So now what you're looking to do is you're looking to stir till all that sugar dissolves. Now the sugar's going to sink to the bottom, So make sure you really scrape the bottom. Keep continuously stirring, and eventually all those grains of sugar will dissolve into the cider. Alright, that sugar's starting to dissolve well now. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that clementine that we had earlier, that we peeled, cut it in half. It's all about sustainability, using as much of the fruit as we can. So we're just going to squeeze in some juices, like so. There we are. Cover that up with a lid and turn the heat right down to low. And this is where the lid comes in handy. If you don't have a lid, don't worry, stick a plate on there, stick a bit of tin foil around it, whatever, just cover that up, turn it down and let it slowly heat. Let all those spices just infuse within the cider. We're going to leave that now for about 15-20 minutes. Alright, so that's been going for about 15 minutes now. Perfect time to start working on the garnish, what we're going to do for this. So what we're going to do, we're going to take an apple, whichever apple you want, whatever apple variety you love. You like pink lady, get a pink lady, whatever you like. And what we're going to do is we're going to first cut that in half. We're going to grab some cloves, and what we're going to do is we're going to pinch them into the apple all the way along, creating these beautiful lines of clove going through the apple. Now you've got these kind of lines of clove going through, we're going to cut in between the lines to create our slices. Like so, 1, 2. Grab yourself 2 heat-proof glasses like these. Take the lid off, grab yourself a ladle. Don't worry, get some spices in. We're just going to pour that in. Take a smaller knife, and in the back of your apple we're just going to cut a little entryway, which we will use to stick on the side of our glass like that. Once again, cutting through, a little entryway, stick that on the glass. There you are, you can stick some cinnamon sticks in there, whatever. There we have it. That's our mulled cider. Super easy, super delicious, super warming. I can smell it. It smells beautiful. Now if you want to booze this up a little bit, what you can do is you can have a little bit of rum in there, a little bit of spice rum, will just lift it up. If you want to go back, follow this along, check out the blog. I've got this whole recipe as well as non-alcoholic variation and a boozier variation.